Okay.
So now we are going to work on today's class, and the agenda of today's class is to work on the IELTS listening exam section. In a quick introduction, IELTS listening exam is an exam of 30 minutes in total, and this contains 40 questions divided into 4 sections. That means 10 questions will be there in every specific. Our recording is played by the examiner, and students are given with the 2 sheets. One sheet is known as the questions sheet, and that sheet contains the questions. During the recording, students find out their answers and they keep writing their answers on that specific question sheet in these 30 minutes. And they go section by section. First of all, it comes section 1, then it comes section 2, then section 3, then section 4. And after 30 minutes, once the students are done with all 4 sections, they are given 10 extra minutes to transfer their answers from the question sheet to the given answer sheet by the examiner. So when the students fill up the answer sheets, at that time, the 10 extra minutes are given to the students by the examiner, and these 10 minutes are not included in the exam. So it is a quick review, or it is a quick at the spot upon the listening exam of the IELTS. So now I'm going to concentrate on the listening, and I'm going to specifically elaborate what listening actually is and how it works. So now, IELTS listening exam, now it is in front of you, is the descriptive layout. And this descriptive layout will be available for you of the class as well. And I will be sending this whole descriptive write-up that I have written here for you people. I will be sending you after the class as well, so that you could print it out and you could just take it up with you in your booklet. Your booklet contains some of the things in that as well. So now, IELTS listening exam. We are going to work on 1 by 1, 9 by 9, and I'm proceeding further. 30 minutes is the total exam time for the listening exam. In the examination room, there are 4 sections of the exam. Section 1, Section 2, and Section 3. Remember, every specific section has the different difficulty level that I will explain after some time. Every specific section, when we proceed further, increases the level of difficulty for the students in their answering and in their approach. But I will be explaining after some while. There will be total 40 questions in exam, and 10 questions will be there in every specific section. So means 40 questions will be divided in 4 sections, means 10 questions per section will be there in the exam. 10 extra minutes will be provided by the examiner to the students to transfer their answers from the question sheet to the answer sheet. How it works, how the exam goes, how it progresses. The progression of exam is in this way, that a recording is played by the examiner, and recording is played once. If somebody could not answer any specific question, he cannot request examiner to recall, to rewind, to go back, to replay the recording. There is no option like that. So recording is played once only, and there is no certainty about the repetition of the recording. The recording is played once, and student has to go for the answers in one-time recording. Number 2, fill in the blank. The students are required to fill answers in the gaps on the question sheet. So gaps are given on the question sheet normally, and in these gaps, students have to mark their answers. For example, if you see this sheet, see here, it is that the students will be given some sort of sheets. Here is given the keyword name, and the students has to write the answer on this specific question sheet. He will write the answer here, she will write the answer here in this gap. Answer will be given in this gap, in this gap. So in this way, it will proceed further, and the question sheet will be filled by the students during the exam time, and when the recording will be played by the exam. So 2 set of questions are normally given in exam. What do you mean by 2 set of questions? There are 2 different nature of questions in IELTS listening exam. The one question is the question in which examiner play 2 voices. So one question contains 2 voices. the question or one set of questions, one type of questions are which contain two voices. The questions which contain two voices are known as the dialogue questions, which is given here. The dialogue questions are the questions in which recording contain two voices. One voice normally questions, and the second voice normally answers. And the perfect example of this one is the question answer session between two people, like an interview. In an interview, the person one asks, the person two replies. It works in this way. So the dialogue questions are normally on the pattern of the interviews in the company. Number two, the second type of questions that we find in exam, and those are commonly there into, those are known as the monologue questions. And the monologue questions are the questions which contain one voice only. And that one voice contains every information that a student requires in exam room to answer the questions given in any section. Most probably, the section 4 of every exam that appears in monologue means the single voice. But again, that depends upon the will and wish of the examiner. If examiner wishes to give dialogue in every question, we can give. If examiner wants to give monologue in every question, we can give. Nobody can stop him, because the Cambridge examiner is known as the master of his own will. But to make the things more understandable for my students, there is a very clear guideline that two set of questions can appear in exam. One set of questions is in the monologue pattern, the single voice, and the second set of questions are there in the two voices, and that is known as the dialogue questions. Students will mark their answers on the question sheet during the recording, and the 10 extra minutes will be provided to them to transfer their answers on the answer sheet once the recording will be over. During the recording, the manual exam appearing students will not transfer the answers on the answer sheet. I repeat again. In manual exam, the students who are appearing in the manual exams, they are not allowed to transfer their answers on the answer sheet during the recording. But the students who are appearing on the computer-based exam, or the students who are nowadays are appearing in UKVI, UK Visa and Immigration Examination of IELTS, they are not allowed to sit on the manual exam. They are required to sit upon the computers for their examination, and they have to type the answer during the recording. They will not be allowed to take 10 extra minutes to transfer the answers on the answer sheet. So it will become a very tough thing now for these students who are not in habit to work on the computers during exam, but now they have to go for it, because in almost every country of the world, nowadays the UKVI, UK Visa and Immigration IELTS has converted on the computerized basis. Maybe in Nepal, the same thing would be, and you may be required to work on the computer-based IELTS. I don't know what's going on nowadays in the Nepal and what is your pattern of examination. The UKVI is converted 100% on the computers, while the IELTS, which is not for UK, that specific exam can be given either on the computer or on the paper, whatever the examiner wishes to have. So now, in the listening exam, the difficulty raises as the exam progresses. For an example, section 1 is known as the easy section. The section 2 is known as the tough section. Section 3 is known as tougher, and section 4 is known as the toughest section. So as the form progresses, as the exam progresses, it is easy, it is tough, it is tougher, it is toughest. Section 1 easy, section 2 tough, section 3 tougher, section 4 is the toughest section. On the exam, you cannot plan. It is the only exam in all 4 exam files: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. This is the only one exam that you cannot plan for this. I'm telling you one thing that is different. In reading exam, you can plan, you can think, you can sit, you can write, you can rub. In your writing exam, you can think, you can make the idea, you can write on the question paper, you can look right, you can look left, you can look up, you can look down. But in the listening exam, you are not you do not get the time to even rub your face. In listening exam, you are not listening exam. It does not give you even the margin to think. You have to act very promptly, rapidly, speedily, steadily, consistently, persistently. You have to work on your paper, and you are not you will not get even the time to properly adjust yourself, because the recording will be going on. If you are feeling a bit uncomfortability on your seat, bear it, because the recording will not stop for you to adjust yourself. You have to actually you cannot actually plan yourself, but actually you have to put yourself into adjustment parameter when the examination is in progression, and you have to plan yourself. Your plans are no, there's no planning at all. You have to actually adjust yourself according to the recording in the exam. If it is a telephonic recording, you have to bear it. If it is telephonic concept, you have to bear it. If it is fast recording, you have to bear it. If it is a slow recording, you have to enjoy it. If it is a summary question with a monologue pattern, you bear it. If it is dialogue with an interview pattern, enjoy that. So everything is purely in the hands of the examiner, like a steering of a car, and if you are a passenger. So in the listening exam, examiner is a driver, and you are the passenger who is sitting in the hall, and you have to adjust yourself according to the mood of the examiner. So it is the exam in which you cannot plan yourself actually, but you have to adjust yourself in the exam. Important is to know what is the marking, how the marks are distributed in the exam, how the examiner gives you the marks. So now, important marking criteria. First thing is the correct. What do you mean the correct answer? Whatsoever you are going to write, that should be correct. For example, if examiner asks what is the biggest country of the world, for example, and in reporting it tells that America is the biggest country. If you write America, it is the correct answer. And if you write America in the correct spelling, then that is the correct answer. So both things will matter. First thing is that you should write America. You should not guess America. You should write America. You should be sure about America, and the American spelling should not be. So the first thing that will give you the numbers in. The second thing is follow the guidelines. If examiner says that you have to give one word answer, then you have to give one word answer. If he says two word answer, then you have to give up to 2 words answer. If he says 3 words answer, you have to give up to 3 words answer. If he says word and a number, you can write both of them. If he says answer in numbers, then you have to only write the digit and number. You cannot write the word. So it is what the overall listening exams. And number 3, you should follow the English rules. What do we mean by the English rule? If answer will be in some name that is known as a noun, the first alphabet of that specific answer should be in capital. The first alphabet should be in capital. The name's first alphabet should be in capital. It is English rule. If there is a word to before a blank, the answer will be in the first form. If there is has, have, or had before the blank, the answer will be in the third form, because it is an example of the perfect tense. These are known as the German English rules. I'm not saying that in every question you are required to think about the English rules, but I'm saying out of 100 questions, 3-4 questions can be like in which you will be required to think upon the English rule, and you have to follow the rules of English, the rule of grammar, the rule of vocabulary, the rule of linguistics. So there are different types of questions which can appear in the most common questions which appear in the exam are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 11 and 12 types of questions which can appear in the exam. There are total about 14 types, but I have just put all the fill in the blanks into one specific heading here. So despite making 14, I have made 12. So now these different types of questions are there. These different types of questions. The first question is known as form filling question. The form filling question is a question in which one person asks and the second person answers. Number 2, selection question. You are given multiple answers, and out of these all, a few will be the correct answers, and you have to pick up the correct out of the total. And number 3 is the matching question. On one side, you are given the characteristics. For example, on one side you are given names, or on one side you are given the variables. On the second side you are given the definitions, and you have to create the match that definition 1 belongs to name number 3, and the definition B belongs to name number 1. And this way you have to create a schedule completion, table completion questions, and flow chart completion questions are very less common nowadays in exam, but we will do it. Labeling the diagram, you have to mention the parts of the diagram in the question, and that diagram will be given by the examiner. And MCQs, multiple choice question with a single answer, multiple choice question with double answer, maps. Fill in the blanks can be of three different types. Simple fillers, like what the olden times we were doing in the sentence, there would be a gap, and we have to fill up the gap while listening the answer from the recording. And then sentence completion. Sentence completion is a question almost in which half of the sentence is given by the examiner. Half place is is vacant, and yet you have to listen and you have to write the half of the space. So now summary completion question. It is a question in which every question is not given on the different map. In this type of question, all questions are given inside the paragraph given by the examiner. For example, one paragraph would be given and it will be on a single topic. There will be different cuts in between this paragraph, and all answers will be relating to one topic only. For an example, it is a summary upon Nepal. So this whole page contains the summary about the Nepal, Nepalese people, and the heritage over there, the culture, society, values. So now there will be different cuts in between this whole passage about the Nepal, and we have to fill up the gaps in the passage while listening to the recording tape by the examiner. So these are the sum of the question. The final question is the question and answer session. There will be question in the upper line, and the answer will be given or to be written by us in the lower. Most likely or most probably, these answers are given in 1, 2, and maximum 3 words. So answers are normally shorter, and the answers can be up to 3 words maximum in these question and answers, which are given by the examiner in the listening exam of IELTS.